Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. One of the things we get asked about a lot is how systems handle really high volumes of data
Oh,
operations.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
those core create, read, update, delete actions, those CRD operations. It can get pretty technical, but I think the insights here are super valuable, especially if you're like our listeners and building applications that rely on fast, reliable data storage.
It's definitely a topic where the deeper you go, the more interesting it gets.
Oh, for sure.
And to really illustrate these concepts, I think RocksDB is a perfect example.
RocksDB, okay.
Yeah, it's a system that powers some really big names, especially when you're talking about massive amounts of data on flash storage.
Okay, so RocksDB, right off the bat, does that ring a bell for you? I
Mhm.
know our listeners are in the thick of things building data-intensive applications, so this is the kind of tech that's often working behind the scenes, even if we don't always see it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a good bet that anyone using services built by Facebook, for example, they've interacted with RocksDB in some way.
Interesting.
It's designed to be this persistent key value store, which is a fancy way of saying it takes pieces of data, each with a unique key, and it lets you access that data crazy fast using that key.
So kind of like a supercharged dictionary, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where you can instantly look up any entry. But instead of just words and definitions, we're talking about all sorts of data that applications rely on.
Exactly. And where RocksDB gets really interesting is how it's architected. It uses something called a log-structured merge database,
Okay, I've heard of that.
LSM for short. And this design is all about speed, especially when it comes to write operations.
Okay, speed is good, especially when you're dealing with tons of users or transactions. But you know me, I'm always thinking about the trade-offs, right? So is there a downside to this super fast writing? Does it affect, say, reading the data back out?
You're spot on. There's always a balance.
Right.
So with this LSM tree structure, we need to consider things like write amplification factor, WAF. It's a measure of how much extra data the system has to write compared to the original piece you're storing.
Ah, got it. So a higher WAF means more work for the storage device,
Yeah.
potentially slowing things down,
So
or even wearing it out faster if we're not careful, right? And I'm guessing this is especially important with those flash drives our listeners are so interested in.
absolutely. But it's not just WAF we have to think about.
Right.
There's also read amplification factor, or RAF, which is the same idea but for reading data.
Makes sense.
And of course, space amplification factor, SAF,
Okay.
measuring the extra storage the database uses compared to just the raw data.
Wow. Okay. So it's this juggling act, right?
Mhm.
Optimizing for speed, storage space, and even the lifespan of those drives.
Yeah.
Which, thinking about that, how does RocksDB actually help developers manage all these factors when they're building their applications?
Well, that's where RockdDB's flexibility really shines. It allows developers to tweak these factors, WAF, RAF, SPF, based on the specific needs of their application.
Oh, okay. So it's like custom tuning the engine, right?
Mhm.
For maximum performance,
Right.
depending on what that application needs to do. It's not just a one-size-fits-all solution.
Exactly. And this is super relevant to our listener who's dealing with these high-volume CRUD operations.
Right.
Remember, those create, read, update, delete actions are happening constantly. And at scale, that can put a lot of stress on a system.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got an application with tons of user interactions, even small inefficiencies can get out of hand pretty quick.
For sure.
So how does RocksDB actually help manage that kind of pressure? What's going on under the hood to keep things running smoothly, even with all that data flying back and forth?
Well, before we jump into the specifics of RocksDB's approach, I think it's helpful to understand where it came from.
Okay.
RocksDB is actually built upon the foundations of LevelDB.
LevelDB.
It's another key value store developed at Google.
So it's building on the success of what came before. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's a story there.
Oh, there is, for sure. LevelDB was already a really successful key value store, but the team over at Facebook, they saw a way to, specialize it even further
I see.
for their specific needs, particularly when it came to those massive data sets and really making the most of flash storage.
So it's like taking a really solid foundation and building something even more powerful on top of it. Kind of like those, I don't know, like those medieval cathedrals, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Each generation adding their own layer to create something magnificent. But getting back to our listeners' needs,
Mhm.
how does this legacy with LevelDB actually play into RocksDB's ability to handle these intense CRUD operations at scale?
That's a great question, and it leads us right into the heart of RocksDB's architecture. Remember that log-structured merge database, the LSM design I mentioned earlier?
Yes.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, so LSM is key here. Remind me again, why is this so crucial for handling those high-volume curated operations our listeners dealing with?
Okay, so the LSM design is all about how data is written and stored. And this directly impacts how efficiently those CRU'd operations can be performed.
Got it. So explain it to me like I'm the listener, right? They're working with these massive data sets, constantly creating, reading, updating, deleting information.
Huh?
How does LSM make that whole process smoother and faster? What's the magic here?
Well, the magic is really in how it handles that flow of data. Imagine you're constantly adding new entries to a logbook. You're just appending them to the end.
Okay.
That's kind of how the LSM approach works. It makes those write operations incredibly fast because you don't have to rearrange all the existing data every time.
Oh, so it's all about efficiency, huh?
Right.
Instead of constantly, like, shuffling things around, new data just gets tacked onto the end of the line, so to speak.
Right.
That makes sense for speed, especially with those create operations.
But how does the database actually handle reading the data back out if it's all just appended to a log? I mean, wouldn't you have to search through that whole log every time you needed a specific piece of information? That's where the merge part of LSM comes into play. So periodically, the database does this process called compaction,
Compaction.
where it takes those logs and it merges them into these more structured levels. Think of it like organizing your bookshelves.
Okay.
You might have a pile of new books to add, but instead of just shoving them in randomly, you periodically take some time to sort them and put them in their proper places.
Got it. So the compaction process is like the librarian coming in and tidying up the shelves, making sure everything is in the right spot.
Right, exactly.
But with a digital library the size of, well, Facebook's data, that sounds like a pretty intense operation.
It can be, but RocksDB actually has a really clever way of handling this through multi-threaded compaction.
Multi-threaded compaction.
Yeah, so it basically means this merging and organizing is happening in the background using multiple threads so it doesn't interrupt those ongoing CRU'd operations. Your application can keep humming along while the database does its housekeeping.
Okay, so multi-threaded compactions. That's a mouthful. But I'm starting to see how all of this fits together now. That LSM tree structure keeps those writes super fast by appending data to a log. Then multi-threaded compactions take care of merging and organizing that data in the background, making sure things stay tidy without disrupting the flow of all those create, read, update, delete operations. It's like a well-oiled machine designed to handle this constant influx of data.
Exactly. And this is especially important when we consider those flash drives you mentioned earlier. They're fast, but they can also be a little sensitive to too many write operations.
Right, that whole wear and tear issue. So how does RocksDB's approach to managing all this data actually play into minimizing that wear and tear on flash drives?
Remember how I mentioned write amplification factor, WAF, earlier?
Yeah.
Well, with traditional databases, every write operation can result in multiple writes to the actual storage device. But with RocksDB's LSM design and those clever compactions, it really significantly reduces the number of writes needed, thus minimizing the wear and tear on those flash drives.
So it's not just about speed. It's about efficiency on multiple levels.
Yeah.
By minimizing all those unnecessary write operations, RocksDB's extending the lifespan of those flash drives, which is a huge win, especially when you're talking about applications handling this constant stream of data.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons that RocksDB has become such a popular choice for applications that demand both high performance and reliability.
It sounds like RocksDB is a real workhorse when it comes to managing all those CRU'd operations our listeners dealing with. It's optimized for speed, it's designed to minimize the wear and tear on those flash drives, and it handles all of that data juggling in the background without missing a beat. But before we move on, I'm curious about one more thing. You mentioned earlier RocksDB being built on the foundation of LevelDB. Can you tell us a bit more about that? What were some of the limitations of LevelDB that RocksDB was designed to overcome?
Yeah, so LevelDB, it was great for a lot of use cases, but it did have some limitations, especially when you start talking about the scale of data that, a company like Facebook is dealing with.
Right.
One of the main issues was that LevelDB's compaction process, it could sometimes cause performance hiccups.
I see.
Particularly during those, peak usage times.
Yeah, when it really matters.
Exactly. So RocksDB was designed to specifically address that by implementing those multi-threaded compactions we talked about,
Right.
which allows for, smoother and more consistent performance even when things are really busy.
So it's like LevelDB was a solid single-engine plane, and RocksDB came along and strapped on a couple of jet engines, huh? For more power and efficiency.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. Another key difference is that RocksDB was really optimized for flash storage right from the beginning.
Okay.
LevelDB, while it could work with Flash, it wasn't really specifically tuned for it. RocksDB, on the other hand, takes full advantage of that flash speed, but it also minimizes those downsides we talked about, like write amplification.
So it sounds like RocksDB was built with these massive modern data sets in mind from the get-go,
Hmm.
recognizing that flash storage was going to be a game changer for handling all that information.
Exactly. And that forward-thinking design is a big part of why RocksDB has become so successful, right?
Yeah,
It's not just about solving today's problems, it's about anticipating tomorrow's challenges.
which leads me to a thought I had while we were talking about all this. We've been focused on how RocksDB is optimized for flash storage,
Right,
and it's clearly doing a fantastic job at that.
for sure.
But the world of data storage, it's always evolving.
Oh, absolutely.
We've got new technologies coming out all the time, like NVMe drives, even things like persistent memory starting to make waves. So I'm wondering, how might databases like RocksDB need to adapt to take full advantage of these even faster and more efficient storage mediums?
That's the million-dollar question, right? As we move toward these next-gen storage technologies, those bottlenecks might shift. RocksDB's architecture, while it's incredibly efficient for Flash, it might need some tweaking to fully exploit the potential of NVMe or persistent memory.
So it's kind of like having a Formula One race car that's perfectly tuned for a specific track. If you change the track, you might need to adjust the car's setup to get the best performance out of it.
Exactly. We might see even more sophisticated compaction algorithms or even completely new approaches to data organization that are better suited to these new storage mediums. It's a really exciting time to be working in this field.
It sounds like there's a whole wave of innovation just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And, who knows, maybe our listener out there will be the one to develop the next groundbreaking storage engine.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, if you're out there, listener, working on something amazing, let us know. But for now, that's going to wrap up our deep dive into RocksDB. We've covered a lot of ground today, but hopefully you've come away with a better understanding of how this powerful storage engine works, why it's so popular, and how its clever design allows it to handle those massive amounts of data we talked about, especially how it manages all those create, read, update, delete operations, all those CRU'd operations you're dealing with.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you. And remember, knowledge is most valuable when you understand it and can actually apply it. So take what we've talked about today and see how you can apply it to your own work or your own interests. You might be surprised at what you can achieve.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.